Welcome to the Made for Money podcast, where feminine wisdom meets financial power. I'm your host, Christine Walsh, financial strategist for women entrepreneurs, fractional CFO, speaker, and author of the best-selling book, Be the Queen of Your Money, and guide for women who are rewriting their money stories and unapologetically rising into their wealth. Let's do this. What if everything you learned about power and money is wrong? What could change in your business? What could change in your financial life? What could change in your personal life if you really let this question land? Money has been tied to power and vice versa for centuries. It's a wonder why we would even question the dynamic. But that's what I'm here for, and that's what I'm made for. That's why I started my business, is questioning the money dynamic in our world, in our lives. So welcome to Made for Money. And today I wanted to start this podcast with the idea, or perhaps the permission slip, that we as women can redefine our relationship with money and how it relates to power. So inviting you to consider what you think about power currently. And for most, including myself, many, many times, particularly even more so now, we're thinking power out in the world. External power, power over, power under, power taken away, power given, super important powers that are out impacting us and our world. This kind of power is very transactional. Can you feel that transactional right here? We are going to talk a lot about relationship and money, but this kind of power, as I've described it, can feel very transactional, and that's what I call it. And not to mention heavy. Can you feel the collective heaviness of that kind of power? And that's why I started to investigate this idea of money and power for women and really all humans. Money is a tool, so let's just get that straight from the beginning here. And money, just like a hammer in your toolbox, can break something down, or it can build it up. It does take on the energetic imprint of the human using it and applying it, just like the energetic imprint once you take a hammer and start working on something. It can be a tool for survival. It can be a tool for freedom. It can be a tool for change. It can be a tool for change for good or for bad. It's a tool. So when we redefine what money is, we are defining how we're using this tool. And so I have a couple of questions for you, and I'd love for you to just take a minute. I'll shut up here shortly and ask you to reflect. How do you define money in your life currently, or even how you have, if you've done money work, how you've done it in the past? How have you defined money in the past? And I'm always looking for first thought, best thought. Good, good. Now, how do you want to redefine it, perhaps? If you're listening to this podcast, I would imagine there's a part of you that wants to redefine your money. How do you want to redefine it? What does it look like for you? And then contemplate this question. And it's so important. So listen in, breathe into your heart space. Why? Why change it? Why is that important to you? Awesome. Thank you. So no matter what ChatGPT says, we still are the magnificent humans of 70 trillion cells made of stardust, and that we will always have free will on how we use this tool, how we choose to use this tool, including all the different tools that we have available, all the different types of resources we have available, money included, time, energy. That is our superpower. So speaking about superpower, this podcast isn't just about money. It was about money and power. So the power I'm talking about, not external power, is internal power. The example I often use is as if we were plugging a plug into a wall socket and where the lamp lights up when we turn it on. So I'm thinking we need to be returned on and remember where our power comes from around money and light up from the inside out, and then continually practice applying that to our financial work. It is big work. Don't get me wrong. I totally get it. I'm there with you, and you'll find out more about my story next week. But this is big work. And it's why I created Made for Money. I mean, to help us remember it's our work to do. This is our work to do because we are all made for money. When we are disconnected from our power, financial or otherwise, as women, we experience not just personal stagnation, but there's broader societal costs when half the population isn't fully economically empowered. And that's just not good for any of us. So connecting back to our internal power, that electrical source from the universe, gives us the power to create from conscious choice. And we can do that maybe in big ways. We can do that in small ways. I mean, big ways might be like choosing to invest in social, environmental companies that align their businesses with sustainable and ethical values, as well as looking to create financial return, versus companies that aren't doing that and just are all about financial profitability at all cost. But it also could be small ways, like where you choose to use your dollars when you're at the grocery store to, perhaps you're buying meat from a local rancher versus the big grocery store, or you're choosing when you're out with your friends that you decide to not eat out because you love eating home and you invite them back to your house to have some snacks and chips and salsa, which is my fave. Yeah, connecting back to our eternal power breaks us free from those traditional frameworks that have left many women, including myself, feeling powerless. And there's many reasons why, right? Cultural conditioning, lack of financial education, and exclusion from economic opportunities. That is why it's so important for us to reconnect to our power. Because so much about money and power in the past, out in the world, that is so distorted and there's some really crappy stuff going on. I won't curse you just yet, but I believe is because some humans, well, outside of them being actually distorted, and money is amplifying that and lighting that up even more so, but they've lost to varying degrees their own true connection to their own internal power. So they have chosen, whether consciously or unconsciously, to project that power via money and let money do the dirty work and thinking they superficially now have this power. And that's just not accurate. And unfortunately, as we are seeing and have seen for many, many, many years, decades, the impact it has on our world. So the work here for you and me included, we're all doing this together, is to redefine what money means to you. And remember your own internal power. You plugging into that light socket of the universe and making choices about your finances from there. That's how we apply this in the real world, walking it day by day by day. And I mean, we use money every day. So what choices are we making with the money we do have, the money we have right now? So again, consider this your permission slip to do money differently. It's okay. I got you. We'll talk so much about this. As you can see, I have a lot to say on the topic of money, power, and women, all with a little bit of rebelliousness thrown in for good measure. That's how I roll. And why I chose really deeply to start a podcast on this. So my big ask for you today is I'd love, love, love for you to subscribe to the show if you haven't already. And then share with someone, a beloved friend, woman you know who would love to be be in on these provocative money conversations, where you both receive the invitation to remember without a shadow of a doubt that you all too were made for money. So see you next week when I talk about who the hell am I to be talking about all this, my money story, and when I decided I was made for money, even though I was supposed to be the money expert back then. So go figure. Bye for now. Thanks for tuning in to Made for Money. If this episode resonated, share it with a woman entrepreneur who's ready to rise, rebelliously, of course, into her next level of wealth and financial power. You can find me, Christine, on Instagram at christine.marie.walsh or at rebelrisefinance.com to keep this conversation going, because remember, you were made for money.